All right, guys, what you need to know about bodybuilding is that if you want to be a bodybuilder, the first thing you have to do is basically get your blood work done. You need to see where your health is, especially if you're over 30, okay? And you're not getting that. If you're working out in the gym and you're not getting results, it's probably because your hormones are tanked by the time you hit 30, okay? The reason like we look amazing, even if you have good genetics up until about the age of 30, is because your growth hormone levels in your body, your testosterone, everything is pretty optimal. I would say most likely up to the age of what, let's just say 25 to 28, okay? Because you can do phenomenal growth naturally that way. And you can build muscle in your 30s. I'm not saying you can't, but most guys want to look above average. If you want to grow muscle and you're above 30, like I'm almost 40, okay? But the thing is, I don't care anymore about age because I already know how to preserve myself. I already know how to, enhance my body so that I can look younger, stronger, into my 50s, 60s. So I'm beyond caring anymore about worrying about age. The problem is most guys are stubborn and they're too insecure to take certain steps, even when it comes to TRT, okay? Because they're like, oh, I got to be natural. I got to do it naturally. I'm not a man if I don't do it the natural route, okay? Here's the goddamn truth. We admire, not me, because I don't watch sports. Okay. I don't care about sports really, but 99% of the world admires athletes, movie stars, other gym guys that are bodybuilders. And here's the truth behind all that is that they're all doing it. Okay. So every guy that we want to be or our girlfriends, crave from the movie that they're never going to get, they're all doing it. Okay. And they're all high performing men pushing the envelope, doing what they have to do so that they can make their millions of dollars and be happy. I mean, I consider I'm a corporate manager. Okay. I've done it for years. Did I take TRT in my mid 20s? Yeah. And I don't care because, it only helped me. I had less sleep, better focus, better mood. And when I'm, dealing with customers at the time, you basically, your well-being is good and your confidence is good. So why would you, think of it as a negative? Okay. So that's all BS. That's just cowardly men who are afraid to do certain things, because they don't have the budget or the ability to poke themselves with a little test. Okay. So moving that aside, we do need to get our bloods checked. Okay. We need to make sure that everything is in check and, for our health markers just before we do anything and to know where we're at for our baseline. Because if you're under 500 on the chart for testosterone, then you're probably not in a good place. You probably want to be on the higher end to the 1,800 and up, okay? But if we're trying to be an enhanced male and be a high performer our entire life, we don't care about that shit. What we care about is that we're healthy and that everything is functional and we're trying to build muscle, have a great physique for the beach, for our enjoyment, for if we want girls and shit, or just looking good in public, okay? We don't care about stuff like that because we're just performing men. All we care about is that we're getting the result that we want. So once the blood check is done and we know that we're healthy and there's nothing to really address, now we're moving into, well, are we trying to be just a high performing male or are we trying to look like a fitness physique person or a bodybuilder or, a Hollywood model, if you want to call it that, okay? This is where you kind of have to know where you're at. And the great thing about this is that there's really no limits. It's really just like how far you're willing to take risks, at some point. Because to get to a certain size, you are looking at blood pressure, you're looking at controlling estrogen if you need to. And there's multiple ways to do that. Some people use an aromatase inhibitor. Some people just add another compound that competes with estrogen that helps lower it so that you can actually, the better route is that if you know how to do that. So this is what I'm trying to get at. There are ways of doing things the right way, and there's ways that we used to read about in forums years ago that are completely bogus. Like for instance, when I was researching before I kind of became an expert, a lot of forums would say, oh, 500, milligrams, I'm not a doctor, don't do this, but 500 milligrams of testosterone was a lot. And you had to take all these things to protect yourself and your health and everything, right? The truth is that they were just fear mongering you into buying products off their forum so that they can make money off you. They help you technically, yeah, maybe they do have some protection like milk thistle, Tudka, and all these things that are out there. But the real issue is that, first of all, 500 milligrams of test isn't toxic. there's nothing bad about that. It's not even a big dose. A bigger dose is when you get into the 1,000+ range, okay, and you're pushing some weight. But even then, it's not toxic because it's a natural hormone that occurs in your body. When they talk about toxicity, they're talking about the orals, like Anadrol, Anavar, D-bol. That's what they're talking about, and for long amounts of time. So they say, well, let's like alleviate stress from your liver. But even then, a lot of these medications, they take a while to actually cause those kind of issues. So you really don't need all that protection like you think you would. Yeah, it can. You usually know when you're hitting your, I need to stop doing that, because your hunger will go down, and that's the clear indicator that, okay, you need to take a break. Pushing that aside, once the blood work is done, and we are now into our choosing what we're doing with ourselves as a man. Now, if you're just trying to be a high performing man who builds muscle very well, sleeps very well, and performs good at work and looks good for his wife, then yeah, 200 milligrams to 500 milligrams of test is your zone. Okay, that's your zone, and you can build plenty of muscle, have a great physique, look very nice for yourself, and live like that for the rest of your life and probably never have to worry about it. Now, when we're going into the upper scale of things and we're trying to be a performer, we're trying to have a certain type of physique, a look, if you will, then that's when compounds matter, okay? And for size in general, because everything works the same as far as building the muscle. What is the trade-off with all these compounds that we're taking is the secondary features that they give you, because they all build muscle equally. So it's like you have a total milligram that you're taking of all these things, and that's what, has to do with the amount of muscle that you can build and, so forth. But what really matters is how you react to things and what secondary feature are you getting out of it. The reason we say testosterone is like the base, it builds great muscle. It can do a lot of things for us, but it's because we need that estrogen for our health. A lot of the other compounds don't produce estrogen, so we're going to feel like crap if we don't get enough of it. So we need enough test in there, basically, to have that health benefit, because estrogen is extremely important for men, okay? As much as we say, oh, it's a female hormone, it's very protective in men for a lot of reasons. So just understand that we need healthy ranges of it. So we don't want it too high, we don't want it too low, we want it at the healthy range no matter what dose we're using, and that's why we use an AI or another compound to compensate that. So now going into other compounds, let's just say, all right. So if you're trying to build more muscle and we're in a building phase, okay, there's compounds that aromatize or cause water in the body, which helps you with your lifts and joint protection. So that would be like a decadurabolin, okay? The other real thing you could choose is maybe an equipoise, because you can run that it's a very non-estrogenic compound, but it does also lower estrogen, so you might have to increase your testosterone as well and figure out the balancing act of where you want that stuff to be at for your estrogen levels. And everybody's different. That's the thing, everybody is different, and you have to play around and experiment and check things when you're doing all this, okay? So now we have the equipoise in there too as a builder, okay? It can also be a cutter because it's a drier compound. So what else can we choose? Well, if we feel like we're having a good ratio with our test and our DECA, okay, let's just say, but we're maybe getting too much bloat between the estrogen from the test and the water retention from the DECA, well, it might be a good idea to add a compound that's more has a drying effect on us, like a masteron. And this is why things get technical, because unless you have enough experience under your belt, because what we're seeking is a total milligram, how to get the most milligrams we can with the least amount of side effects and the best outcome for what we're trying to do. So that's why stacking is so important, because there's certain stacks for building and there's certain stacks for just looking good and maintaining, and then there's cutting as well. So like say after you build all this muscle at a certain milligram, well then you're going to retain it, but you also want to look really good while you're trying to get rid of some of the fat, because when you're building muscle you put on a little weight, okay, because you're eating a lot of calories. So what we do is we kind of keep the diet the same but clean it up a little bit, just say, and we would keep the test in there obviously because we need it, but instead of a compound like a decadurabolin that holds water and causes bloat, all right, and gives us like a wet, softer, puffy look. We look good in shirts, but shirtless, it's not as like crisp, okay? So we would take those out and we would implement things like equipoise, masteron, more so, and like winstrol's, anavars, things that are DHT drying compounds. And that's going to give us that, like, I call it the chick look, like the shredded, look good at the pool kind of a thing, and we just look awesome if we have the muscle for it, okay? Because certain times, depending on who you are and your body structure, because sometimes what if you're really skinny and you're that guy that has that super fast metabolism, sometimes you need a little bit more of the water compounds to look better. But if you're already a bigger dude and you need that more of a tightness, look to your body, then the king of this, I actually left it out and I should have mentioned it earlier, is primobolan. Nothing makes you look better, in my opinion. Okay, this is my opinion from personal use and just loving it more than anything, is primobolan. Primobolan gives you that, they call it the Wolverine look almost. It's a very hard, dry look, and it's full at the same time. See, Masteron can make you look a little flat, and it really kicks in better when you're at a lower body fat. Primo gives you a bulk kind of a look to you, like the roundness. It also gives you a good look in your skin, I noticed, and it just makes you glow as a person. No matter what, it makes you feel great on it. It pairs well with Test. You can run those two together. Test and Primo can do everything. All right. The problem is that it's expensive, and it'll just give you a look like no other. I call it the Hollywood look of all time. I really think that's what most of the actors did in the old days when they were doing, movies. All right. That gave them that great look. And Primo is just amazing. It's an amazing compound. If you can afford it, or you have, it's the way to go. I'm being honest with you guys. So the thing is that once you understand the science of all this and how it works, then it becomes like child's play, for an experienced person. And that's why I'm so happy that I did this at a younger age. I started in my earlier mid-20s because that's what forums kind of said to do, and I have experience with everything, like when it comes to like insulin, all the orals, basically, every compound that's performance, for like a PED, and also peptides. I've used the newer GLPs, and things are going in different directions. The GLPs and the peptides are becoming very popular right now, and it's not because they're popular. It's because of what's happening in China. And I'm just going to give you a little world knowledge that I know of. China got some restrictions on their productions. Okay, so they don't have as many sellers, so that they can sell performance things to America. Okay, and what's going on right now is peptides are fine for them to get here, so they're being pushed like crazy in marketing. Do they work? Some of them, yes. Some of them I think are a waste of money. I think the GLPs are good for people who have craving issues with food, and even addictions. There's some of them help with people who are addicts, because they shut off that part of the craving in their brain, so they can help with that. All right, and there are some fat burning effects, but ultimately, like, growth hormone, Test, insulin are the main drivers in growth, and I would say also in fat loss when it comes to growth hormone for fat loss, as well as clenbuterol. Those are like the key factors that you got to understand. All right, so the world is pushing peptides, but it's not really the secret to the great things that are going to make the best part of your performance and your growth and your physique. Okay, it's just marketing really strong right now because that's what's hot. So look past the fluff is what I'm trying to say here, and just understand that what's tried and true is what's true. So like I said, like if you're just trying to be a performance guy, and you're just like a dad or a businessman or a guy that loves the gym life, and you want the lifestyle of a bodybuilder, this is the route you're going to have to take if you want to be that Superman either for your family, or you want to look good for the babes, or you want to just look like a bodybuilder because you just love it like I do. I don't work out for women like I used to back in the day. Okay, I work out because I love performing, getting results, and it makes me happy. That's my happiness. Okay, early on, I was for myself. I didn't really think that I could help people with this, but it turns out you can actually take bodybuilding, downsize it quite a bit, and make an average guy super happy to look great for his wife, his kids, just feel great about himself. And he doesn't have to go to those extremes that the bodybuilders are doing. He can do light stuff, very light, and just be super satisfied. Like look at like Brad Pitt's, okay, like James Bond, any of their movies where they have abs and they just got a nice crisp body. That's them doing light work, okay? And you can do it too. You don't have to be held back and thinking, oh, I gotta do all these crazy things like the bodybuilders do to have a great physique. To have a certain size you do. That's the thing, because you need more volume to hold on to such a size of muscle. And then that's where the side effects kind of have to be maintained and monitored. To look average, but above average, but average size, but look phenomenal, you don't have to do that. You really don't. You can be very moderate, super looking good for a male. And, even if you're a female watching this, okay, because I don't want to leave the girls out. Some girls like this stuff. Growth hormone is great for women. Peptides are really good for women. Clenbuterol for losing weight and performance. These things are out there. There's no reason for a girl to tuck and look like a man from taking, hormones that males take. So I help mostly men, but if you want that help, you can also reach out to me on my Instagram. And my Instagram is Black Feather Fitness. It's all one word. You can find me on there. And if you want the help, I'm here. I work with people one-on-one. I help them with their nutrition. I help them with their protocols. It's very private. Obviously, it has to be because, we're doing things that, are a little bit of a gray area. But I want to see people happy, and that's why I do what I do. I kind of help them kind of point them in the right direction of how to do all this stuff and, make sure that they can do things the right way so that they can get what they want. So I hope this video kind of gives you an idea. I haven't done many long format videos, mostly shorts. If this video goes good, I will do more of this. If you like this video and share it, I'll start doing more, because I wanna meet and greet my people that love this stuff and are interested in this. And I hope this video really helps kind of give you some insight. The average guy can do things that are not so average and still not crazy at the same time, if that makes any sense. So I'm Coach JP. That's what I'm going by right now. And again, my Instagram is Black Feather Fitness. I hope to see you on there. Follow me, support me, and I'll love to chat with you. Hit me up in the DMs. I'm a cool guy. I like to, get feedback from people and, connect. All right. Good stuff, you guys. Hope you enjoy this and stay strong.